and gentlemen, good evening and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Another election result is upon us and so are another set of exit polls. As always, Mirror Now is staying away from an exit poll. It's an exercise, as you know, fraught with risks. We don't want to take that risk. Instead, what we are doing is what we do every time. We are putting out what we call the poll of polls. Essentially an amalgamation of which agency is giving how many seats to which party. Now, the elections in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir have concluded for 90 seats each. The results are out on 8th of October. In Haryana, the clash is a straight one between the Congress and the BJP. And most exit polls, the numbers will be on your screens in just a moment. Let's put them out. Most exit polls that we have so far have given the election to the Congress party quite conclusively. No confusion here, no hung house here. This is a clear majority, a clear sweep for the Congress party. Ritanshu joining us with numbers. Hi Ritanshu, why don't you take our viewers through the numbers?
Yes, hi Shandi. These are the days we live for as journalists because election season means it's all about number crunching, and whatever be the veracity of exit polls in the end, it's always fun to go through the numbers. And these are the first numbers, ladies and gentlemen, that we can see on the screens. And we've got the poll of polls for Haryana. And I think it is doom and gloom a bit for the BJP, but more importantly, at least the more decisive victory is coming in for the Congress share. Look at these numbers. Our viewers can look at the second column in the screens in this graphic. And the Congress, it's 44 to 54 for Dainik Bhaskar, 57 to 64 for Dhruv Research. People's Pulse gives an exact figure of 55. And the Republic Mattress Survey share gives 55 to 62. So all the four polls we have got so far, Shreya, give the Congress a mark somewhere in the 50s, which is enough for the Congress, because remember, it's 90 seats in Haryana. So the halfway mark is 46. The Congress came tantalizingly close last time, within striking distance, but it seems it's now gone beyond, and its strategy of going solo has paid off, Shreya, because it seems the Congress, going by the exit polls, it's a clear win.
It is. And if you do a back of the envelope calculation, Ritanshu, just take a look at the numbers and let's keep the numbers on the screens. If you take a look at the numbers, the average will come out to be somewhere around 55 to 56, in fact, a little more than that, which means this is a clean sweep for the Congress in Haryana. And many people will say that this was expected. You know, there are elections, Ritanshu, that even before starting, at least the Janta knows kaun jeetne wala hai.
Yes.
As far as Haryana is concerned, the writing was on the wall for the BJP. And the Congress knew that it was on a good wicket. Let us introduce our first set of guests this evening. I'm going straight across to Yogendra Yadav, who is joining us on the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, as you see those numbers on your screens, Yogendra Yadav with us. Mr. Yadav, thank you very much for joining us this evening. As I was just telling Ritanshu, for some elections, you know which way the hawa is, which way the election is going. In your view, was Haryana one of those elections, a foregone conclusion?
Absolutely, unexciting as it might be, but this is really the fact. These are at least half the elections in this country where the equation is settled before the elections are officially called and the campaigning begins. Now, while the media covers campaigning, of course they have to, while we create all kinds of excitement about what has changed in the last 3 days or last 1 week or whatever. But these are all minor blips on the major trend. In the case of Haryana, it's firmly one of those elections where before the election was called, I would actually say even 1 year before the election began, everyone knew the result, that BJP was going out, that it was Congress's turn. The question has only been, what would be the margin of Congress's victory? That BJP is losing is given. That Congress is coming to power, to my mind, is kind of a foregone conclusion, unless something very, very dramatic takes place, of which I'm not aware. The only real question is about margin of victory. And in a simple formula, I say, देखिए हरियाणा में या तो बीजेपी के खिलाफ और कांग्रेस के पक्ष में हवा है, या आंधी है, या सुनामी. अब इन तीनों में से कौन सा है ये आप देख लीजिए, शाम को पता लग जाएगा.
Now, did the Congress get it right? Or did the BJP get it horribly wrong?
In all fairness, the credit must go to the BJP for having done a series of things which completely ruled it out in the people's eyes. To be absolutely honest, I think the roots of disenchantment with this government go back to its very foundation. That is to say, in 2019, when BJP came back to power without majority, with the support of Dushyant Chautala, who had actively campaigned against the BJP and had mobilized farmers against the BJP and then quietly switched over to BJP. So many people in Haryana felt that from day one, this government was born in sin, as it were. The farmers' movement really broke the legitimacy of this government, and whatever remained was undone by the restless protest, which was in Haryana seen as a continuity of the farmers' protest. So after all that, the basic legitimacy of the government was gone. The only question was whether how much of this would translate into election outcome, and whether BJP may be able to do counter mobilization to overcome that. These were the only questions left. In Loksabha election, we saw a glimpse of popular feeling in Haryana. I say a glimpse because there was, after all, Ram Mandir, there was Mr. Modi, and there was the larger national context. Once all that was removed, and BJP government and BJP state leadership was left to fend for itself, then I think we have seen a further move away from BJP, and that is where the situation stands.
Had Yogendra Yadav, had the BJP seen the writing on the wall? After all, Mr. Khattar was removed 6 months before elections, and Prime Minister Modi hardly campaigned in Haryana. I think he had 4 campaign rallies. Was this the BJP protecting the Prime Minister of a defeat that they were seeing coming?
Whatever my differences with the BJP, I do grant them political intelligence. They clearly knew. That they replaced Mr. Khattar shows that BJP saw the writing on the wall, though they saw it a little too late. Anyone you speak to in Haryana says that, okay, Saini is a shade better than Khattar. That's a general consensus in Haryana. But they also say, "Aakhir mein karke kya hua?" As the famous Hindi song says, "Sab kuch luta ke hosh mein aaye to kya kiya?" Something of that kind. About Mr. Modi, it's absolutely clear. Number one, you don't see him doing rallies of the kind that he has done. I've always said that even in the most difficult elections, Mr. Modi has gone around and fought. You know, in some ways like MS Dhoni. But this time in Haryana, he's simply missing in action. Second, if you look at the holdings, which is a very good indication of what BJP wants to communicate. In Lok Sabha election, if you would recall, there was only one face on all the holdings. Saffron holding, one big face of Mr. Modi, Modi ki guarantee. Now, if you look at Haryana election, BJP's holding, Mr. Modi is a tiny little circle at the left-hand corner, along with Mr. Sen, same size. And the main poster, main holding is about some common person saying something. So it's clearly BJP knew that this is an election they were going to lose. They know that they haven't been able to turn it around. And therefore, the attempt would be to distance it from the national mood, say this is detached from Mr. Modi, his peculiar Haryana verdict related to farmers' movement and so on. All that spin doctrine would begin this evening as we see exit polls, which I hope and believe would be better than what we saw during Lok Sabha elections.
Any guesses on who will be Chief Minister? Kumari Shailaja, as recently as yesterday, has thrown her hat in the ring. So it seems that the Congress has a problem of plenty if you want to be kind, or a problem of factionalism if you want to be unkind.
Large party which is expected to win, you should expect factional disputes. There's nothing new here. This we saw in BJP. We saw in BJP in Haryana itself in the past. So that's a normal thing. Many people throwing their hat in the ring. If it does not take place, you should be surprised and worried. These things happen. I don't see a major trouble in that because, in a sense, the overall leadership in Haryana has been fairly clear. To be absolutely honest, I was actually surprised and relieved that the faction fight in Congress was not of a higher magnitude than actually has happened. I had assumed that it would be of even higher magnitude. We have about 20 rebels from Congress this time and about 15 from the BJP. I had expected much higher. So I don't expect that to be a major issue. The real issue to my mind is that given the expectation that people now have, will a Congress government, assuming that Congress forms the government, will a Congress government be able to fulfill that? That for me is the real question.
Lastly, for some elections, it doesn't matter who wins or who loses. And to your mind, is Jammu Kashmir one of those elections? For Haryana, it matters who wins or loses. But in Jammu and Kashmir, just the very fact that you've had the election, it's been peaceful. People have come out to vote in large numbers. Is that, to your mind, the real victory of the Jammu and Kashmir election?
I agree. For me, the important thing was A, elections are taking place. B, people have participated. And C, hopefully, whoever people vote for wins the election. This is something which people of India in the rest of the country can take for granted. Unfortunately and shamefully, people in Jammu and Kashmir have not been able to take this for granted, that whoever they vote for will actually win. This happened in 1977. This happened in 2002. And if this election is one of those elections, that by itself would be a great victory for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, irrespective of who wins this election.
Yogendra Yadav, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Yadav had spoken to me at least an hour ago. I need to qualify that. Thank you so much, Mr. Yogendra Yadav, for being with us on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, as far as Haryana is concerned, Ritanshu, as far as Haryana is concerned, the picture is absolutely clear. No ifs and buts. As far as this election result is concerned, Haryana has voted decisively. It has spoken decisively. It seems anti-incumbency has worked against the BJP, benefiting the Congress party. So the Congress party will be coming back to power in Haryana after 10 years, 10 very long years.
Yes, indeed. And that is going to be quite a sweet homecoming, Shreya, this one for the Congress party. If I can just ask our PCR team to pull up we are going through the individual poll surveys at this point here. Dainik Bhaskar has given them an exact figure. It's given an exact figure of 55 for the Congress, 26 for the BJP. But there's another interesting picture coming in. So if I can have the poll of polls for Haryana up on the screen, Shreya. And I think it's a bit too early, obviously, but there is a couple of trends that we can get out of if we look at the entire poll of polls. This seems to have become effectively, as you can see, Shreya, a two-horse race. Because for both Dainik Bhaskar and Maitris, the overall seats have gone either to the BJP or to the Congress. So the other parties which were expecting to be a spoiler, whether it be Dushyant Chaudhary, there you can see on your screen at this point, most of the polls, all the 4 polls so far, have given a bulk of the seats out of the 90 seats to either the BJP or the Congress. Now, obviously, for the Congress, it's in a much higher majority. But if you look at the smaller parties, for the JJP, clearly, to my mind, is one of the biggest losers, Shreya.
They were the kingmakers last time.
Yes, they were the kingmakers, and they've come down quite significantly in terms of the results, coming down from 10 seats in the previous election. They've come down to the most optimistic is Maitris giving them 3. So that is definitely a come down. So one would assume that they have been hit very hard by defections. The other takeaway of the other smaller parties, the INLD, compared to last time when it won just 1 seat, it seems to be slightly doing better, yes. The others, we don't know where the Aam Aadmi Party figures in that. But the overall picture is, at this point, is that this has turned out to be a two-horse race. And whether it meant that this was a vote for the Congress, which is why the smaller parties didn't get the votes, or whether this was essentially anti-incumbency against the BJP in which the Congress benefited more than the other parties, that is something, assuming if these results hold, we'll get to know once the vote share comes out at this point. But
as far as exit poll results are concerned, I did a little study about how exact they have been as far as Haryana is concerned and Jammu and Kashmir are concerned. They've had mixed results for Haryana.
They have been anything but exact.
But they've had mixed results.
Yeah.
So You can't dismiss these exit polls, is what I'm saying, because it's very clear. And all exit polls, if you look at the four on your screens right now, all of them are very clear about who's winning this election in Haryana. So if everyone has similar figures, look, 55, 57, the minimum, 57, 55 again, how wrong can you go? I mean, yes, exit polls can go very wrong. We saw that earlier this year. But what worked for the Congress? Look, the fact is they spoke of muddas that people wanted to hear about.
Yes.
The election in Haryana essentially had become about Kisan, Jawan, and Ritanshu Pehlwan as well.
Exactly.
So the Congress promised to legalize MSP. That is something that they did.
Yeah.
They said if we come to power at the center, Agniveer is a scheme that will be scrapped. So they have spoken about the Kisan and they have spoken about the Jawan. And of course, there was the Pehlwan story that was playing out. There was Vinesh Phogat, who was fielded. That was strategic as well. And if people who have traveled to Haryana will tell you that the issue of Pehlwan was not just the issue of Pehlwan. It became an extension of the Kisan issue, of the farmer issue. And that's how it played out. And then, of course, you had BJP MPs like Kangana Ranaut who did absolutely no favor to their own party.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting. It's not just the sympathy wave or, of course, the entire aura around Vinesh Phogat share, which is important. It's also the entire Ladki Hu Lad Sakti Hu campaign of Priyanka Gandhi. From what we saw from a lot of our reports that we did on the ground, that did seem to resonate at this point here. A lot of the women voters seem to have resonated with Priyanka Gandhi. And that seems to have played off. I was just going through the Loksabha results in Haryana. It had 10 Loksabha seats. I think the alarm bells were ringing for the BJP itself from there, because the BJP won 5 seats and the Congress won 5 seats. The other smaller
and the vote share was, there was hardly any difference as far as the vote share is concerned.
Yes, that's actually, you're right, because the vote share for the Congress was 43, the vote share for the BJP 46. The other interesting point is that even then also, it was within the Congress did fight the elections with Aam Aadmi Party. The Congress won 5 seats, the Aam Aadmi Party won none. So even then, it was a clear pro-Congress wave. It was evident on the grounds, which is why perhaps the strategy of the Congress Party to go alone and not give up seats to JJP or Aam Aadmi Party worked in this case.
But it's not like, it isn't as if an attempt was not made to stitch up the alliance. It simply didn't work. And then there was a question about, will the Congress be a loser if they are not tying up with the Aam Aadmi Party? After all, at the center, if you're putting this grand narrative of the India bloc, why not in Haryana? But the Haryana leadership was very confident that they can do it on their own, and it seems they have delivered. Bhupinder Hooda has delivered Haryana to the Congress Party. Ab sawal ye uthta hai, and which is the most mazedar sawal, kaun banega chief minister? Because, as I said, if you want to look at it kindly, you will say problem of plenty, right? You have Bhupinder Singh Hooda, of course.
Yes.
You have Randeep Singh Surjewala.
We have 2 Hoodas. You never know. Dipender may also.
Oh, well, I think he'll let his father have a shot at this one. Then you, of course, have Randeep Singh Surjewala.
Yes.
His son is fighting the election from Kaitan. He lost both his seats last time, you remember?
Yes.
So he's been very quiet this time. No television interviews, nothing. And someone who has just woken up. She didn't campaign for 12 days. And then she woke up to give television interviews one after the other. Kumari Shelja, pitching herself as a chief ministerial face. So it's going to be interesting.
In fact, we did speak to Kumari Selja also this morning. So we would probably like to line that soundbite also for our viewers, because she made it very clear that she was interested in the Chief Minister's post. Once again, I think it's very important to keep reminding our viewers that that the standard disclaimers apply perhaps more than ever. In fact, we've got Mr. Hooda live at this point, ready to speak to us. If I can get clarification from our team, and if we have, let's play that out.
Former Haryana Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda is joining us right now to talk about the exit poll numbers which have come. Sir, the exit polls are showing the figures from 58 to 62. How confident are you about these numbers? Are you satisfied?
I have been telling you in the morning also, I told you, Congress is going to form the government with comfortable majority.
So are you satisfied with the numbers? Because earlier the Congress party used to say that we don't believe in exit polls.
Exit poll, I don't know, still I don't know, but I know my poll, my assessment. We are forming the government with comfortable majority.
So the BJP is still saying that these are not the real numbers and they are going to form the government.
Let them say whatever say. But you'll see on the 8th, people have decided Congress is going to form the government.
Sir, according to you, what were the major factors because of which the Congress has got this much number of seats in the exit polls, sir?
Because of non-performance of this government, corruption of this government, and failed in every aspect, and every section of society is annoyed with this government.
One last question, sir. As the BJP is still questioning that who is going to represent the Congress party if they will come to power, because many of these leaders are having aspirations, whether it is Kumari Shelja or Randeep Singh Surjewala. How do you react to this, sir?
What is the harm in having aspirations? Everybody should have aspirations. Politics is such. But the procedure of Congress, MLA will be given, the MLA would give their opinion and High Command will decide. Okay.
That is, of course, the man who would probably be fancying his chances the most based on pure performance here, Mr. Bhupender Singh Hooda. And Shreya, it's very important to point out that Mr. Hooda's work behind the scenes, he's been credited someone who probably pushed the party up at a time when, at least in Haryana, they were at the doldrums. Even last time, I remember when the Congress did fairly better than what a lot of, again, exit polls were giving them credit for. They got 31 seats. They came within sniffing distance of making it a victory with the JJP. The talk within the corridors was that it was essentially Mr. Hooda who once again went around, revitalized the party, campaigned from door to door, spoke to everyone who was miffed at this point, strengthened the party, this thing. So this is something which has paid off. It took 5 years longer. But Mr. Hooda, once again, the Congress party, yes, a lot of attention and a lot of media headlines, a lot of focus goes to the Gandhi family. But when it comes to the state chief veterans here, Mr. Hooda has once again shown that he's someone who's quite indispensable. And definitely he will fancy himself to be the someone who's in pole position to be the chief in the chief minister's conversation.
That's true. So we'll of course have to wait once the final numbers are in on the 8th of October to see which community has voted for which party.
Yes.
But Mr. Hooda was supposed to deliver the Jat vote to the Congress party. And it seems if these numbers hold, and all exit polls right now seem to be suggesting the same thing. If you take an average, the average is coming out to be somewhere between 57 to 58 seats for the Congress party. Then it means that Mr. Hooda has done his job. You know, in Haryana, it's the 35 versus 1 wali ladai. 1 is the Jats and 35 are other communities. So the BJP strategy, Ritanshu, was to consolidate this anti-Jat vote. Have they managed to do so? One will just have to wait, but by the numbers, possibly not. There's someone else. We've just heard from Mr. Bhupender Singh Hooda. Probably, who knows, Chief Minister in waiting. But there is someone else who has thrown her hat in the ring exactly 48 hours ago. Her name is Kumari Shelja, a veteran. She's been around in Haryana politics since 1988, ladies and gentlemen. She's someone who's close to the Gandhi family. She's a loyalist. She's a woman. She's a Dalit. So she has, as far as a combination for a chief minister goes, she has the right credentials as well. Could it be Shailaja as well? We don't know, but this is what she had said earlier today.
See, the issue here is that BJP has nothing to show for itself. For the last 10 years, Haryana has been reeling under the misrule of Bharatiya Janata Party government. And today, Congress is the only credible alternative. And people believe in the Congress party. What our leader, Rahul Gandhi ji says, whatever he directs, and that is what is changing the pace, the whole environment in the whole country, not just Haryana, and Haryana will definitely benefit from that.
So once again, Kumari Shelja making it very clear that she wants to be and expects to be a part of the Chief Minister's conversation here. So is this going to be another problem of plenty for the Congress party? We have seen them taking the time, also going through their fair share of deliberations when it comes to choosing a Chief Ministerial face for their big wins at this point. But once again, these are what exit polls are saying. Exit polls have gotten them wrong a lot, especially in the recent past. We would just like to once again reiterate that for our viewers here. But for now, For what they're worth, these are what the exit polls are saying in Haryana. They are on your screens. It is a one-way direction of all the seats, 50 plus out of 90 for most polls giving it to the Congress party. In fact, the lowest right now is 55, which would still be comfortably above in fact, 10% above the halfway mark of 46. So it's good news coming in from the Congress from Haryana, at least going by this.